I said, listen, you cannot ask me these questions. I said, I may be a witness here. He then said, and Barkha, this is very important to note. He says, you can say yes or no. You have the freedom. I said, you do not have the right to call me a prostitute and expect me to answer yes or no. The question.
I mean, he didn't actually use that word.
I used that and put it
as an example.
I said, you cannot. He says, you can say yes or no. So if he's asking me, how many times do you go to a hotel room with X or no, I can say no. But the question itself is the meaning interrogatory. So I told him as an example. I said, you cannot ask me if I'm a prostitute and expect me to answer no and think that's okay. That's not what this panel is set up for. Do not do this. And I told him, I said, you're an ethics committee chairperson. You have a mandate. I said, we are not some uneducated, illiterate fool sitting here just because I'm a witness. I'm one of 78 women MPs sitting in the Parliament of India out of 1.4 billion people. This is the ethics committee. This is not some kind of kangaroo court.
Mahua Moitra, you stormed out of the ethics panel before which you were appearing. That was investigating or meant to investigate whether you had received favours to ask questions in Parliament, alleging that the questions asked were quote unquote filthy and sordid and misogynistic. What actually happened?
Thanks, Barkha, for coming over and speaking to me. It wasn't just I who stormed out. If you remember what happened yesterday, and there's live footage of it, there were 10 members present in the committee, plus the chairman. 5 of those members, that means 50% of the committee that were present yesterday, walked out in protest and boycotted. I didn't even speak to the media. As soon as we came out, it was the other members. It was the JDU, the Congress, the CPIM, BSP. There were other members. And never before, I've been a part of committees. Never before, when you come out of a committee, and we often boycott committees or walk out, that happens. But nobody comes out and addresses the press directly because there is something, Rule 275, which prohibits you from discussing what happened in the committee. But yesterday was such a blatant transgression of everything that committees stand for, that everybody came out because they said, we're not going to be part of this Vastraharan. They're not my party, the other 5. And I said after a point that, I was there as part of a witness today to give a hearing. This is not a criminal investigation. A parliamentary ethics panel has no right to conduct a criminal investigation. There's no criminality in this. It was to investigate, to the fact-finding mission to investigate. I have gone there at the hearing. What are the 2 issues? The NIC login, and the second is the alleged gifts for favours and questions. So the committee's mandate is to ask about that, and everyone is to ask me questions. What happens yesterday is we go in and tell me how long or short you want to keep this.
Long. We want to know what happened.
I hope your viewers have as much patience.
I'm sure they do, because you've used a very strong word. You said Cheer Haran, Vastra Haran.
Absolutely. And
we want to know why you felt that.
Because I went in. So first, I think the other members spoke first between 11 to 12. They called me in about 12:30. First, they were naughty. The chairperson had come in, the chairman. Let me repeat, it was only the chairman who did this, because the other members, be it the opposition or from the BJP, did not even open their mouths. Nobody could get a chance to ask a question. I gave my statement, and then the chairman was first not allowing me to give my statement. So the other members, the opposition members, said that the complainants were allowed to give their statements before the question, so I should be asked to. So I gave my statement first, and all of it is transcribed, please note, which they haven't even given me a copy yet. I'm going to ask for it. It's all transcribed, so there's nothing secret. Then the chairman comes with a 10 or 12 page written set of questions that somebody has obviously given to him. The chairman is incapable of saying his name himself, right? He's just reading out from that. And he's asking questions like, if a foreign national were to violate the Official Secrets Act, do you think it is right or wrong? So I said, well, the government has laws. If a foreign national is to violate the official, what has that got to do with this investigation? I mean, what are you even referring to? If Darshan Hiranandani is not a foreign citizen, A. B, where is the official secrets in this? So, what are you going around for? So anyway, this went on for a while, and he was asking all these questions, and everyone kept asking him, why are you asking this question? What is the relevance? But because he wasn't using his own head and his own brains to figure out the question, he didn't have an answer, because he kept looking at the paper. So at one point, when he said, "Hasi mat," and I said, "I'm hasne, I'm khasre," because I was coughing. I was not laughing, right? Then he says, it was like a farce. Then he says, he's got the questions written down. So suppose the first question is a yes/no answer. If I answer yes to the first one, only then can you say yes, no, 3, 4. Suppose the first question is, did you go to Connaught Place?
Yeah.
And you answer yes. then I can ask you, did you eat at Wenger's or did you eat at,
Sure.
Nizam's? But if your answer is no, I can't ask you, did you eat at Wenger's? So for him, he's asking me a question. If I'm saying no, he's still asking because he's got that written down. Then it got to a point after about an hour, and he let nobody else speak. In fact, Danish Ali and Ghazali ji said that this can't go on. We've been here for 4 hours. We're not here as a circus. We also want to write questions. He said, please put it to a vote whether they should continue. Now, in a vote, it again became 5-5. He as chairperson cast his vote, so it became 6-5 because they have the numbers. So he proceeded to continue with this lineup. So I protested. I said, I may be a witness, but I have a right to register protest. You can ask me anything about the inquiry. You can't ask ridiculous questions. Then he asked, how dear a friend is XYZ? How dear a friend is so-and-so? I said, dear is an English word. It used to mean close or whatever. He says, no, you said dear. Just want to know, does his wife, and he mentions the wife's name, which is mentioned nowhere, either in a complaint or he just mentions the wife's name. And then he says, does she know about how dear he is to you? And I said, how is that relevant to anything? And at that point, the opposition MP said, where is this going? What are we talking about? Then he goes, do you talk? Who do you talk to late at night on your phone? How many times do you talk? And can you give us the call details in the next 24 hours? I said, how is that relevant? Who I talk to at night? Where have you traveled in the last 5 years? Which hotel are you staying in and with whom? These are questions. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, this is ridiculous. I may be a witness here. This is an ethics committee. You cannot proceed. And everybody said you can't do it. Uttam Reddy said, look, what is the question here? The question is the NIC portal login. It's not an email password. It's a login which you can only do 2 things with. The NIC is not the key. The NIC portal of Lok Sabha is not the key to the nuclear code of India. Let's get this very straight. Number 1, all you can do is upload questions on it and do your travel reimbursements. That's it. There are 542 Lok Sabha MPs, 291 Rajya Sabha MPs. Between them, they have a total of maybe 4,000 people who have the login portal because nobody types their own question. I've already said up front, I have a rural constituency. In 2019, I asked Darshan, can you get someone in your office to type in the questions? Because when they give you the time to put in the questions, a very short window. So then what happened was, I said, this is and there are no rules. There are no NIC rules that we were informed about yesterday.
No, I'm going to let you complete because I have a separate set of questions on the allegations.
Okay.
So let's get to the allegations separately. Let's finish what happened
so what happened yesterday. So then what happened was, this continued. So then all the opposition members stood up and they said that this can't go on. This is nonsense. You cannot continue with this. And he kept on and on and on.
And what did you say when he asked you these personal questions?
I said, listen, you cannot ask me these questions. I said, I may be a witness here. He then said, and Barkha, this is very important to note. He says, you can say yes or no. You have the freedom. I said, you do not have the right to call me a prostitute and expect me to answer yes or no. The question.
I mean, he didn't actually use that word.
I used that and put it
as an example.
I said, you cannot. He said, you can say yes or no. So if he's asking me, how many times do you go to a hotel room with X or no, I can say no. But the question itself is remaining interrogatory. So I told him as an example. I said, you cannot ask me if I'm a prostitute and expect me to answer no and think that's okay. That's not what this panel is set up for. Do not do this. And I told him, I said, you're an ethics committee chairperson. You have a mandate. I said, we are not some uneducated, illiterate fool sitting here just because I'm a witness. I'm one of 78 women MPs sitting in the Parliament of India out of 1.4 billion people. This is the ethics committee. This is not some kind of kangaroo court.
I wonder if you've seen the BJP Nishikant Dubey's comments, among others, who say that you have targeted the chair. He's a Dalit, he's a scheduled caste, and you have been casted and
something. We have no idea what he is or who he is. I have absolutely no idea of his caste. I'm sorry, I'm from Bengal. Unlike certain people, and he wasn't even present, so I don't know what he's talking about. We are from Bengal. We don't even go on caste, frankly speaking, So I don't even know, frankly, what caste the chairperson was.
So do you feel that they were judging, that instead of discussing the allegations, they were judging you for your personal life, real or imagined?
The entire thing was, if you look at the setup, day one, what do? Leak personal mock photographs of me. Right? Cropping out people with me with a cigar, me with this, me with that. They first put that out there, tweeted by the BJP handle. Number 1, that's everywhere. Then they put out this ridiculous allegation, which do you think if there was proof of 1 rupee of cash, they would have taken it to ethics committee, right? They would have put me in jail. You know what the BJP is like. It's because we're speaking about Adani and Modi that their pants are on fire. It's the only reason.
Let's get to the allegations.
Yeah. So now, yesterday, then the opposition stood up And they said that, listen, we are not going to be part of this Vastraharan. Sorry, this is not an ethics committee. This is a complete joke, and we protested this. And they walked out, and I registered I said, I want to be put on record that I've answered whatever questions I could, and I'm willing to answer anything, but I take umbrage and register strong protest at this disrespectful, demeaning, unethical behavior by the chairman, which is asking me these cheap, sordid questions. And I will excuse myself. I said that and I walked out.
Okay, let's get to the allegations themselves. The allegation is, and you have not denied part of it, you have said that Darshan Hiranandani was a friend, that he did have. You're okay? Yeah. Sorry. Darshan Hiranandani was a friend, that he did have access to your login and your password. And every time he or someone in his office would post a question, the OTP would come to you.
Correct.
So you were aware at each time of what was
I had given the question.
or what was being posted. But looking back, do you believe, because he said he made an error of judgment in an interview to Times Now, do you believe that it was an error of judgment to give out your, I'm not talking about the illegality, I'm talking about the conflict of interest, because Mr. Hiranandani had business interests that were in conflict with some of Gautam Adani's business interests. Do you believe, therefore, there was a conflict of interest in an error of judgment in giving out your password
not in my case,
and your email?
No, not in my, I did not give out my email. Let us make a very clear distinction.
Okay.
There are two Sansad logins and password. One is for mahua.moitra@sansad.nic.in. Okay. Nobody has the login and password for that. So it's not like somebody can send an email on my behalf. Only I have that. It's on the Kavach platform. So let's get that out of the way. The only thing is the login ID and for the portal to upload questions. All I had asked for was typing, stenography assistance and typing out the questions. The questions are mine. He is a friend of mine with a large office with a lot of spare typing stenos. I have a remote constituency with Bengali speaking people where I don't put in a lot of English questions. And if you see, the national average is 191 questions. I've only asked 61 questions. The two myths that we have to bust, that the BJP is putting out, is that parliamentary questions are a great source of secret information. You can get squat out of parliamentary questions. There is nothing you can get in a parliamentary question that you can't get out of a 10 rupee RTI. Number one. That's one. There's nothing. Since 2005, anything you can ask in parliament is RTI. So nobody is going to pay anything more than 10 rupees to get a parliamentary question. Now, the second thing is a parliamentary question can be starred and unstarred. I've only got something like 3-star questions in the last 5 years. The third thing is that you are putting, there are no NIC rules whatsoever. Everybody uses somebody to type it in. I myself have asked my niece to type it in. I have MP friends whose children do it. Their children's friends do it, who come to intern for them. PRS is a private agency. PRS sends us lamps. Do you know those lamps come for 3 months to 6 months? Do you know the provenance of those lamps? If they are relatives of Darshan Hiranandani or his son or his daughter.
But in this case, you knew. In this case, you knew that there were competing businesses.
There is no competing business interests. He's my friend. I've asked questions of Adani. From there are 9 questions on Adani. Why would Darshan Hiranandani need me to ask those questions? There's no Darshan. If he's a competing person, he knows the landscape. If he's in natural gas and Adani is in natural gas, he knows what's happening. Why does he need me to ask a question to figure out what's happening? He already knows what's happening. If Adani has won Dhamra without a tender, if IOC and GAIL have not bid for it, I'm sure the other competitors know it. So where is the question of Darshan asking a question?
But he's not front-facing those objections. The allegation is he's using you to front-face
for what? For what? I have stood out against Adani because he's running the biggest con job with Modi on this country. What has Darshan got to do with it? Darshan has only got one. I mean, where is Adani? Where is Darshan?
The allegation is that 47 times Darshan Hiranandani's office or himself, I don't know, accessed your password to post questions in Parliament.
I am surprised it is only 47 times. It is 47 times since 2019. Please understand. Only his office has done my questions. I have very rarely done my questions.
So you agree with this 47 number?
There should be more. I'm surprised it's 47. I have 61 questions.
Has his office exclusively posted all of your parliament questions?
Pretty much most of them, because like I said, I don't ask very many questions. I speak in parliament. I ask 0 hour. I speak on Twitter. My way of getting, there's nothing secret.
So you agree that this report of 47 questions posted by Hiranandani's office is correct?
Of course it's correct, but I'm surprised it's only 47. It should be more. I've already said that my login portal was given for them. I have asked 61 questions.
Okay.
So to ask 61 questions, don't you need to log in at least 47 times?
So Hiranandani's own affidavit, you've
Right.
called him a friend. His own affidavit says that there was pressure on him. He made 2 points. One, that there was pressure on him by you to provide gifts, and that you have a domineering personality and he found it difficult to say no. And 2, that because you were ambitious, I'm quoting from his affidavit, you thought the fastest way to get attention, the easiest way to attack the Prime Minister was by attacking Gautam Adani. How do you respond? He's your friend. He's saying
two
both these
things.
things.
1 minute. Do you believe that affidavit is not what the paper is written on?
Darshan.
Because the first day this came out on October 15th, on October 16th morning, Hiranandani from its official corporate website put out a statement saying it's denial. 2 days later, there's a white paper floating around in the media saying that this is Darshan Turn's approver. Some BJP troll tweets out Darshan's turned approver, and there's a white paper affidavit floating around. And so when you give an affidavit, if you're called by an ethics committee, you give an affidavit. If you're called by a court of law, you give an affidavit. If you're called by the CBI, you give an affidavit. Who is Darshan giving an affidavit to? Has anyone asked him? He's not even been called. So, and even if he were to give it, Darshan Hiranandani is one of the smartest people I know. He's my friend. One of the smartest people I know.
You still call him a friend?
Of course I do. Of course I call him a friend. I call him a friend all the time. Of course, why should I not call him a friend? Right? But Darshan Hiranandani, they put a gun to his head and they ask him, I mean, isn't this obvious? You're a journalist. Can't you tell? This is a smart man. Would he put out a white piece of paper and float it in the media? Right? Which is it. And then the next day it is notarized. It is notarized and put in. If you see the language of that, on one side, you're saying Darshan is a competitor of Adani. And in the affidavit, it says, I have nothing to do with it. Mahua wanted to get famous and she was attacking Adani. If that were true, the both can't be true. Either he's a competitor and doesn't like Adani, or he's just a silent bystander and is helping me get famous. I am an opposition MP. What can I do?
Were the questions your own, or were they based on information provided by him?
All the questions are my own. I am within my rights as a parliamentarian to speak. I am trying to listen. When we're talking about Adani without getting permit had never run airports in his life. He suddenly buys Bombay Airport. The day before that, GVK Reddy, who owned Bombay Airport, gets a CBI and ED raid and sells out. Should I not speak to GVK Reddy to find out what happened? Yes or no? Yes or no? Why is Adani allowed to bid for Dhamra without a tender? Why was IOCL and GAIL, which built Ennore at 1/10 the cost, doing an offtake agreement for 10 times the price with Adani? Yes or no? When I speak on the civil aviation bill, am I not going to speak to all the industry people?
But should a competitor of Adani be involved in any way?
Of course.
In the framing of those questions or the uploading of those questions
Barkha,
out of Dubai?
Barkha, you are talking. I mean, this is utter rubbish. And I'm telling you this. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude. This is utter rubbish.
Tell me why.
The first question is that he did not frame any questions. All the questions are my own. Darshan runs a $6 billion enterprise. I don't think he's going to sit there and type in my questions himself. I think he's got a life, number one. So to think that he sat and typed in those questions himself is ludicrous. They're all my questions and put them. I write my own speeches. So number one, that goes out the window. Number two, what is this Dubai? He could be sitting anywhere. The NIC portal, if it's such a nuclear code, can you please put a block an IP address? I myself I typed in a question from Switzerland. My family lives in England. I myself have been in England and typed in a question from England. So what are we talking about here? Well, it's closed in the NIC portal. How does it matter where anybody is sitting?
So let's come to the quid pro quo allegation, right? You have said that it is a misnomer to call this a cash for query
Where's the cash? It is defamatory to even call it cash because there's no cash.
But you do concede that certain gifts were given as a friend to a friend, right? You have listed and chronicled these gifts. Have you had time to maybe rewind and take a look at all the gifts that have been given? Because that is what the QP will be alleged.
Now again, this comes into the great affidavit you're talking about.
Yes.
Darshan is the so-called approver. He is the bribe giver.
And the allegations are made by Anant Dehadrai.
Whoever's made the allegations is irrelevant because they've not been able to prove squat. Right? Allegations are proven. You can't just say 300 pairs of shoes, 5 Gucci bags, 200 emeralds and not back it up with anything. Neither is there anything in the complaint to back it up. The hearing is over. The complainants were called. They have not provided one piece of paper to back it up. So no evidence has come from the complainant. So the only person who can provide evidence is Darshan. Yes or no? Tell me yes or no, right? What has Darshan written in his affidavit? If he has indeed provided me gifts and he has turned approver, should he not list them out? Yes or no? Why is that only one paragraph? The whole thing is about gifts. The whole thing is not about whether Mahua Moitra has a domineering personality or how great Narendra Modi is. 11 paragraphs are about how great.
The original allegation alleged cash.
So where is that? Where is the proof of that? The original allegation, the complainant has given a written complaint. There is no proof of cash. The complainant has finished his hearing. There is no proof of cash. So if Darshan is the corroborating side of it, how come Darshan mentions no cash? Because there is no cash. Right? Number one. And if you notice paragraph 12 of the affidavit, that's what I'm saying, that Darshan, if indeed he has given me anything more than that, he should write it down. And that's why I went in and I actually thought, what has Darshan ever given me over the years?
And what were you able to remember?
That's exactly what I said. I tried to look at the categories because, you know, in all of these hatchet jobs, there's always a pattern, right? There's always a pattern. So there's super luxury goods. I said, what is super luxury good? He's given me once a Hermes scarf for my birthday 3 or 4 years ago. And whenever he comes from Dubai, from duty free, I always say, he says, you need something? I say, yeah, get me this. Or even if he doesn't ask, I say, can you get me this makeup, this lipstick or eyeshadow? So there's makeup, right? So there's makeup and there is, which I would ask any friend to do. If you were traveling from the States and you were coming in, I would say, can you get me this if I needed something? That's it. That's so-called super luxury goods. Darshan mentioned logistical and secretarial assistance. I've already said I use stenotyping for his office. In Delhi, if I had to send something somewhere or get something stamped, I've often asked his people to go into it. That's the second thing. The third thing is he talks about support for renovation of house. This is the house that is my government bungalow, 9B Telegraph Lane. Only the CPW has renovated it. Darshan's father and Darshan own one of the largest real estate companies in India. They built Powai. When I got this house, it was in a dilapidated state. I said, Darshan, can you get your architects to do me a drawing to see how I can let in more light and to make it Vastu compliant? He gave me a set of drawings, 4 pages, one for the kitchen, one for the layout. I took the drawings and gave it to the CPWD engineer. They followed it as best as they could. This house has been done by the government of India, by the CPWD. No, not even 1 rupee has been paid by either Darshan or me. The government has done the house. The fourth category is travel expenses. What is travel expenses? Darshan Hiranandani is a very smart man. Like I said again and again, he runs one of the smartest businesses around. What are travel expenses? It can be a bus ticket. It can be a train ticket. What is travel expenses? Why don't you list out what it is? Right? So I thought of what it is. The only thing I've ever taken is when I go to Bombay, and I will do that again. He's a friend of mine. His parents live in Bombay. I don't have infra in Bombay. When I go to Bombay, his car and driver picks me up from the airport, drops me from the airport. And whenever I've been to Dubai in the past 5 years, his car and driver, sometimes he's been there, sometimes he hasn't. His car and driver have picked me up. That is the sum total of anything that Darshan has given me or I've taken.
He's
from
not
him.
paid for holidays.
What are holidays? What are we talking about? Why would I've never been on holiday? I mean, this is ridiculous. The point is this, that Barkha, you yourself are getting into this monkey circus. What is any basic rule of law and ethics? Somebody makes an allegation, somebody else backs it up. You can then ask me, based on that evidence that you have got, is it true? Yes or no? So, yes or no?
Agreed.
In this case, somebody has said X, there is no documentary evidence. You cannot take me through a Vastraharan or a witch hunt saying, oh, did you go to this hotel? Did you stay with him? What is this?
No,
nonsense?
I haven't asked you any of those questions.
What are these questions?
I haven't asked you anything. I don't believe.
I completely agree that you have to put out this side of it because there is nothing. I have already stated what there is. My point is, if there's any evidence to the contrary, please call Mr. Hiranandani.
The only context in which your personal life is at all relevant to the public interest is that the allegations came from somebody you were once in a relationship with.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So to that extent, there is a personal dimension to this conversation.
That is exactly why I said up front, this should never have gone to the ethics committee. If everyone's ex-partner, ex-boyfriend, ex-wife and ex-husband starts taking their acrimonious past into the realm of a parliamentary standing committee, we would make a farce of this democracy. They've given it to Nishikant. Nishikant, as we know, has this public feud with me. He's with a fake degree, which is filed on his election affidavit, which I've taken up very vigorously, has a personal axe to grind against me. Out of 543 MPs, why would only Nishikant be given? Yes or no? Why would he give it to the speaker? And why would the speaker, when there are 18 to 20 in the privileges committee pending that nothing has come to, fast track this? I said this, Danish Ali said it in the meeting. He said, kutte ki ladai hai. Hum yahan pe baithe hue kutte ki ladai ladne. There is nothing truer than this. That one of 78 MPs in a country, in the greatest democracy in the world, is this farce is going on with media time and government time to decide over the fate of a personal pet and her makeup choices. I mean, what is this nonsense going on? It should never have gone to any committee.
In some ways, you have also, instead of being defensive about, and this has been prior to this also, you walked into that ethics panel yesterday holding 3 bags. The media speculated whether you had carried your
all my
Bobby
necklaces,
Brown. Yeah.
all my necklaces, shoes,
Yes.
and bags were part of it. Yes.
What was in those 3 bags?
Those are the 3 bags I carry all the time, actually. One is my Louis Vuitton, which has been
The
the subject of much discussion in this country.
Yes.
Like we don't have things to talk about. The second is my tiffin, my lunch box, which is a very good, it's by a company called Vyaya, which makes a great hot box. I don't eat in the parliament canteen. Yesterday I knew it was going to be a long day. So I always carry my dabba. That's my Vyaya lunch box. And the third was my computer bag in which I had my computer and the papers which I had to print out for the committee. So those were my 3 bags. I'm very happy I walked in right like that.
So there was a lot of commentary on that. But in some ways, your style has been to embrace this label of being elitist. Even in an interview, I think to India Today, you said, I was wearing Ferragamo as a banker before so-and-so could spell it.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that you, in that sense, are doubling down on this perception of your being an elite politician?
I know. We are what we are, right? What have I come to do? I have left my job, my life, everything. I know what I've sacrificed myself to come into grassroots politics. I know why I've come in. I know why I do it. I have to be true to myself. My constituents know me. They know I'm only answerable to my constituents and what I do. If indeed I am not representing
and
them,
to your party,
doing something, and to my party. And believe me, my party, Mahua Moitra is, like I said, short of being my birth mother, she's everything.
Is she angry with you?
Not at all. Not at all. You have to understand. Why should she be angry with me?
What has she said to you about all of this?
I'm not going to say what in my personal domain, what conversation I had with her. Please understand that we are one of few parties that is aggressively fighting this Modi-Adani nexus. Most parties can't even mention the name Adani. We are standing there screaming about it. Abhishek Banerjee's had Pegasus put on him. And we got nothing out of that. We are just on the back of a very large protest against the holding back of our 18,000 crores of our Narega dues. Mahua Moitra is Chief Minister of Bengal. She's got better things to do than to comment publicly on a row over a pet and Mahua Moitra's shoes. She knows I'm fully capable, more than capable than taking on these little pit bulls.
But do you think your party is with you?
Of course my party is with me. Have you not seen the comments that have come out of my party?
Yesterday I saw on-record comments from Dr. Shashi Panja,
Of course.
But there's been some speculation about the relative silence, the public silence of your colleagues.
Silence. This entire thing is a joke. We are fighting a Narega protest about 18,000 crores of our dues, which are required to us. Are we going to comment on that, or this is a diversionary deflection tactic of the BJP?
I want to come back though to ask you if you have any regrets in this entire episode. You have said there's no cash. You have listed the gifts. Yes. You have said that the content of the questions was your own, and you have said that the NIC password is not nuclear code, so no national security has been compromised. However, looking back, would you have done it differently?
Not at all. The only thing that comes out of this is, please, this NIC is the most, please, for God's sakes, if these set down and give people rules. Give people rules. If you think, don't use it selectively to try and get back at the opposition. If there are rules, please put it down. Please put it down. That's all I can say is please.
But other than that,
nothing. I think I have come out of this just to show that, that these Adani's tactics, he's used to Lok Sabha MPs to come to
I was going to ask you that. Yeah. You said publicly that he tried to cut a deal with you. Yes,
he told 2 Lok Sabha MPs who separately approached
Will you name them?
No, I cannot name them. I cannot name them.
What did they say to you?
They both came and said, Mr. Adani is known to us. He's asked us to ask you that what are the issues? Can you please meet him once and sort it out? To both people,
I said after this.
No. This was in the last 3 years. One was about 3 years ago and one was about 9-10 months ago.
Okay.
And both times I said that, listen, I have nothing to talk to him about. My questions are in public interest. He should answer them in public interest. If we don't know who owns this company, if foreign FPIs and Chinese nationals own the company, and LIC is investing in it and they're buying our ports and our airports, then we need to know. So there is nothing I need to know secretly from Mr. Adani. So he said, oh, sit down across and we'll answer all your questions. You sort this out. I have no desire to sort anything out. So I basically told both those MPs to go tell him to take a walk. That's the first. Then even as late as 10 days ago, after this broke, I got a message. Not via those two MPs, via a third source saying, kya ye sab jamela, just pick up the phone, talk to him, talk to number 2.
This story had broken by then.
Yes. 10 days
and
ago.
After that,
I got a message saying, kya ye
from a parliamentarian?
No, not from parliamentarian, from another source saying that why are you getting into all this? Just pick up the phone, talk to number 2, talk to him, just sort it out. Just keep quiet for 6 months till the election. And I said, sorry, I'm sorry, that's not on. So I would really say that the issue...
So you're saying Gautam Adani wants to make peace with you?
I don't know. I couldn't care what he wanted to do with me. I don't care whether Gautam Adani wants to make peace or wants to wage war on me. It's of irrelevance to me. Gautam Adani is pulling the biggest corporate fraud in this country. There's a 13,000 crore coal scam that the CBI and the ED need to investigate, where they're wasting their time going after the shoes and necklaces of alleged gifts that opposition leaders have received. And they're talking about national security when our phones are being hacked and when Pegasus has been used on journalists and on every opposition politician in this country and no inquiry has been done. And Adani is buying up every single port, every single infrastructure asset in this country. And
you'd be able to, if needed, back up the claim that Adani has tried to reach out to you through 3 different sources.
Oh, but what is backup in this, right? These are done through unofficial channels. Now, unless I name those MPs, which I don't want to do, he knows he's done it. I'm saying he's done it. That's it. I can sit across with him. If I had to sit across with him, I would prove it.
So no regrets thus far?
Nothing at all. I live my life without regrets. And I think for Indian politics, the time has come when we claim our space and stand by it. For too long, women in India, and especially women politicians, have expressed regret for who they are. I refuse to do that. I refuse. If it means walking alone, let the paradigm shift with me. I will not shift to their paradigm.
Do you feel that you're being cast in a sort of Imelda Marcos kind of role? Let's talk about let's talk about her relationships. Let's make a judgment on her cigar photograph. All of this is happening.
Typical cheap BJP misogynist politics. Thankfully, I come from a state where we don't even care about all this. We don't even care about all this. We come from an attitude ki korechi to bish korechi. Right?
Do it openly.
Yeah, we don't care about this. I know what I've left to come to this country and to do what I do. My constituents know this. I live in my constituency. I love my constituency and my people more than anything. This is my calling and I will follow it.
I want to end where we started with the Ethics Committee. Now, the final word, from what I understand, you also registered your protest with the Speaker. It's now up to the Speaker what happens next, right? Would you like to appear before this committee again? You have asked for the right to cross-examine.
To which they said no, by the way. Another very good, important point.
Yes.
Darshan Hiranandani is an Indian citizen.
Yes.
Right? He is signed an affidavit in the High Commission of India. He's answerable to Indian Parliament. He's supposed to be bribing. His charge is even more serious than mine. He's bribing a public servant. Yes or no? That's the alleged crime. He's bribing. How could the committee not want to call him? Why is the committee not calling him? Because if they call him and they ask him for evidence, he can't give it because there isn't any. They just wanted to keep it in the realm of grey. They don't want black or white. They want to keep it in the realm of grey so they can use that affidavit to nail me. But that's not happening.
Do you believe that they are looking to suspend you?
They're welcome to suspend me. Of course, they're looking. That's their only idea is to suspend me. They're running this kangaroo court to suspend me because they have a majority in there. Let me tell you the process. The process is after a hearing is complete, and the hearing is not complete. If they think, because nobody
That's why I asked you that.
Nobody questioned me.
Are you willing to appear before this ethics panel again?
Not under this chairperson and with this line of questioning. No way. No way. I've told the Speaker that I'm willing to be part of any fact-finding inquiry and tell them I have nothing more to tell them anyway. I have nothing more to tell them. This is all I have, and that's all there is. If you've got anything more, you can cross-examine. But you can't sit there and ask me questions of, what I eat and how many times I go to the bathroom. Sorry, that's not relevant. Okay? Number one. So that's the first thing. I'm willing to be, and I've already said I'll put on an affidavit, whatever I have. There's nothing more to it than that. I made it very clear. There's no great secret. There's no crime I've committed. So that there's nothing wrong with that. And, if they've decided they want to suspend me on the basis of this unfinished hearing, which is not finished, if they want to give a recommendation to suspension to the Speaker can take the recommendation. He can't suspend on his own. On the first day of the winter session, he can place it before the House. The BJP have 303 MPs. They can vote to suspend me for that session alone. If that's it, that's it.
As you came out of that ethics panel yesterday, there was a reporter who asked you whether you'd been crying.
Yeah.
And you did this and you said...
Yeah, because it's again typical of the male misogyny. I was not crying. His first thing was, oh, you're so weak. Look, you're crying. I said, no, I'm not crying. How dare you think I'm crying?
How would you describe, what adjective would you use to describe your state of mind right now?
I was thinking, I was really angry, and I was thinking that they are not going to get away with this. I just wanted everyone to know, and this country to know, that what kind of destruction of institutions the BJP has done, where they send a chairperson in with a written set of prejudice questions to just sit there and do a Vastra Haranapani.
And there's not one thing you would have done differently.
Not one thing. It's all on transcript. What is the problem?
Mahua
Nothing
Moitra,
I would have done.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.